Hello and welcome to the Self-Unemployed podcast. Now, in this clip, Drew and I are talking about phase 3 of the 4 stages of building wealth. Now, this is the exciting one, the one that involves a little bit more risk and the one where we can really build our wealth and become self-unemployed.
Of course, now we're into, we talked a little bit about phase 2, which is really the foundation and the building block. Once you're comfortable, or not even comfortable, it depends on everyone's risk factor, and everyone's risk factor is slightly different. But as you know, without risk, you can't gain. And so, speaking of stuff like that, phase 3 is, of course, take more risk and mitigation, but mitigation from education. So, I'd love you to explain what you mean by that, because phase 3 for me is the exciting one.
Yeah, it is the exciting one. So, yes, it's about taking more risk, doing more risky investments, but you would mitigate that risk by really educating yourself, making sure you know what you're doing. Now, that might cost money, which directly, that paying for education isn't going to directly give you a return. That depends on what you do with that education and how well you absorb that education. So there's a lot more work involved on your part, in phase 3. The beauty of phase 2 is you can just keep doing your day job. There's certain things you can automate so that money goes into your investment account and you start building wealth. It can be automated and passive. Now there's ways of building passive income in phase 3 as well, but you need to know what you're doing. You need, because you can do it wrong and make, lose money or just barely make any money and end up tying up your money without getting much of a return, which is not a good thing to do. So phase 3 is things like investing in property, which is what I do and what you do. It's how we met and what a lot of the people who I'm going to have on the show are doing. But it's not just that. It would also cover things like investing in stocks and shares and crypto as well. These are things that everyone says is super, super risky. You might hear of someone who've made a lot of money doing it. You'll also hear of people who've lost money doing it. There are things that are risky, but you can mitigate that risk if you were also willing to not just gamble your money, but invest in your education. So it starts to get more dangerous. That's why it's more exciting, and risk because of the risk.
Yeah, and speaking of which, things like, obviously it is taking on more risk. I think it's important to diversify any portfolio. And yeah, I've got some crypto, which I'm a fan of, but crypto is probably almost, I'd argue, a steeper learning curve than property. Everyone has a basic understanding of how property works, a building with a door. But trying to wrap your head around a blockchain and software companies and transactions internationally and multinational companies managing finances, that's, a day trade. It's a bit more of a jump. But it's something that, again, the same with property, the same with anything really in phase 3. If you don't spend that time educating yourself, you're gonna fall short.
Absolutely. And it's not easy because yes, you need to educate yourself. The problem is there's probably the majority of the education out there that there's a lot of people, because these things are sexy and you hear that people make a lot of money. So there's people saying, I can teach you how to do this and they charge lots of money. And some of them are really, really good. And some of them are just after your money. Some of them do not have their incentives aligned with yours, especially with things like stock trading. You'll see a lot of courses about how to trade by staring at a chart and drawing lines on the chart. And those people, I believe that form of investing, of trading, day trading, they're teaching you how to be a valuable client to the broker, because they're actually getting paid by the broker. They'll get you to sign up to a specific broker through a specific link, and the broker gives them a kickback. So they only make money when the broker makes money. So they're going to teach you to trade in a way that is most profitable for the broker. which is normally short term, making lots of trades because they make money every time you trade. It's not
I just
the
want to speak on
long
that
term.
quickly, by the way, because
Go.
that drives me crazy. Whenever you see people drawing those grids and they're sort of drawing a line and a line, and then they go, "Look, we're here," and then it's gonna go here, and you're like, they show like a grid from 2 years ago, and they're like, "Look, it's happened once before," and it's like, that is really to entice the people. Again, it falls back to exactly what you said, which is the main part of phase three. Phase three isn't just about educating yourself on investing, it's also educating yourself on the people that educate you about investing. Doing
Absolutely.
diligence into the people that are teaching these courses and stuff like that. Because if someone's just drawing lines on a page and they say, just follow this formula, if that is actually how it worked, everyone would be billionaires. And that just isn't how life works. Life isn't just grids and lines and numbers. There is elements to luck. There are elements to educated risks taken. And so, yeah, fully doing due diligence into those kind of people is equally as important, because there's a lot of trade forex with me and blah blah blah, and 10x your crypto coins if you buy Dogecoin. There's a lot of that out there, and it's understanding, exposing yourself to that is the only way you can understand that it's bad, and going through that fog and understanding and figuring out who really is behind you and who really wants the best for you, as opposed to a TikTok influencer that's just trying to take your money.
I just want to quickly say thank you so much for watching or listening. If you are watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe and all that, and subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review. All those things are super useful. But if you like what you're hearing and you'd like to become self-unemployed yourself, then I'd really like to build a community. And the way that I'm doing that is I've got a free mailing list that you can join. And when we record these episodes, they're going to be put out as live streams. So you'll get to see a little bit behind the scenes. You'll get to see the episodes before they go out on the main channel and on the podcast. And you'll get to interact with us as we're recording. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, head on over to the website, links in the description. And I look forward to chatting with you as we record future episodes. Yeah, absolutely. You need to find a sort of a community, an education resource that's got a community around it with lots of people that you can see have been successful in that community. And with going back to stock trading a bit, when people break it down to this, just looking at a chart and drawing lines on a chart and looking at support and resistance levels, you've got to remember the stock market is about all shares are a company, and the company has products and customers, and it makes money if they're giving value to the customers by providing good products and services. So you've got to be looking at that. You've got to think, when a company comes along and makes a product that's amazing and has the potential to change the world, kind of like what Amazon did when they launched in the late 90s, or what Apple did when they launched the iPod, which then became the iPhone and iPads and all that. And Tesla, when they said, we think electric cars are the future, and they turned out to be right. That's the kind of opportunity you need to be looking for. World-changing, world-serving products, not lines on a graph. That's just nonsense. You might as well look at your horoscope to see what the market's going to do. It's got nothing to do with it. So yeah, that's what phase 3 is about. Finding the right education to take on that more risk to mitigate it. But it's so hard, because even finding the right education is a minefield. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Now, this was just a clip from the full episode of the Self-Unemployed podcast. If you're interested in growing your wealth, becoming financially free, and becoming self-unemployed, then you can sign up for notifications about the podcast at our website. Links in the description. We've got loads of really good guests investing in all sorts of ways, especially in property. So join us, check out the show, and I'll see you soon.